Welcome back to Monster Tamer, a 2D Pokemon-like RPG created Phaser 3. Previously, we started working on building out our inventory scene, and we started laying out our basic UI components for this. If you missed the previous videos, there'll be links in the video description to the source code up to this point, as well as the complete source code for this video. There'll also be a link to the previous videos if you'd like to catch up. So let's get started. So the next thing we need to do in our scene is we need to add in some text game objects. And what we need to do is we need to add in our text game objects for actual inventory with their quantity. We're going to add in a cancel button so the player can select that to go back to the previous scene. And then we need to add in our description text of what they're doing. Besides that, we're going to go ahead and add in our input cursor, so we'll add in our image game object. So real quick, I'm just going to add some comments for what we need to add for our components. So we'll do create inventory text from available items. Then we need to create our cancel text. We need to create our player input cursor. And then we need to add in our inventory description text. So now what we'll go ahead and do is let's come back to our code and we'll work on adding in these text game objects. So we'll go ahead and start with our inventory description text. So for this, we just need a simple text game object. So what we'll do is we're just going to copy this line of code here. Let's go ahead and paste that. Then we want to go ahead and keep track of this text because we'll need to update it as we select various options. So we'll come up to the top of our class. Let's go ahead and add in a new property. So we'll add in a private property. We're going to call this selected inventory description text. And we'll go ahead and just copy our type real quick. And we'll go ahead and update this. This is going to be a text game object. So we'll have phaser game objects text. Let's come back down to our create method. We'll go ahead and assign that to our property. And now for actual text, what we want to go ahead and do is we're going to do 25 for our X value, and we'll do 420 for our Y value. And for our initial text, we'll just have it be an empty string. And then what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and clone our inventory text style object, and we're going to go ahead and add some properties to it. So what we'll do is let's make a new object. We're going to go ahead and add word wrap, and then for word wrap, we're going to go ahead and add in our width. And we'll do this scale.width. And we'll do minus 18 pixels so we have some padding. And then we want to go ahead and override our color. So we'll come outside our object. And for our color, we're going to do white. And so just so we can see our text, let's just throw a string in there real quick. We'll go ahead and save. And then we'll come back to our scene and we'll see our text showing up on our screen. All right, and for our text game object, because we're positioned at 25 pixels, we don't actually want to update our origin. We'll leave our origin in the top left corner for our text. And then that way we'll have our padding that we're looking for. All right, so real quick, what we did here is we just copied our font styling from our inventory text style, and we added some additional properties. The main one here is word wrap, and what that does is we can specify our max width for our line length, and then Phaser will automatically detect once our string gets to that length, it's going to go ahead and wrap it to the next line. And so this is really useful if you have large bodies of text and you want to contain the display width of that text game object. So as an example, if I just go ahead and make some really big strings real quick, we should be able to see our text wrap around our scene. And so what we'll see here is because we have that space, Phaser detects, we're going to go over our max length and it'll wrap it to the next line. All right, so what we'll do is let's go ahead and set our text back to an empty string. And now we're going to make a new method for updating our text game object. So similar to what we did in our monster party scene, we're going to change this text dynamically depending on what options selected in our scene. So what we'll do is we'll make a new method. We'll go ahead and call it. We'll do this, and we'll do update item description text. And then we'll go ahead and add in this new private method. And so when we call this method, we're going to need to know if our cancel button was selected, and if it is, we'll have a certain text displayed. Otherwise, we'll want to display the description of the item that's currently highlighted. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to add a new variable to the top of my class to keep track of that cancel text description. And so what we'll do is we'll come to the top, we'll make a new variable, we'll do const, we'll do cancel text description. And we're just going to set that equal to a string. We'll say close your bag and go back to adventuring. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come back down to our method and we'll just update our text game object to have that text. And so we're going to reference our selected inventory description text. We'll call set text. And we're just going to go ahead and use that new variable. And if we go ahead and save, we should see our text appear. So now let's go ahead and add in our input cursor. For that, we'll need an image game object. We'll also need to keep track of it. So let's add that to a new property. We're just going to call this user input cursor. We'll set that equal to a new image game object. So we'll do this.add image. And for our positioning, we're going to do 30 for our X, 30 for our Y. And then we need our UI asset keys, and we'll grab our cursor. And then we'll go ahead and scale this up since the image is a little bit smaller, and we'll do 3. And then we need to go ahead and add that to our container. So we'll do container.add, and we'll do our user input cursor. And then what we'll do is let's go ahead and add that property to our class. So we'll add our new private property. Let's copy our type, and we'll change it to image. Now if we go ahead and save, we should see our cursor. So next we're going to have our cancel text. For this one, we don't need to update it, so we don't need to store it on our class. So what we'll do, we'll make a new variable. We'll do const, we'll do our cancel text. And we need to go ahead and do this.add.text. And for our position, we'll go ahead and do 50 for our X, and we'll do 14 for our Y. For our text string, we'll do cancel. And then we need to add in our text style, and we're just going to use our inventory text style. So after we create our game object, let's add it to our container. And so we'll do our container.add, and we'll do our cancel text. So now we should see our text show up in our scene. All right, so for the last thing we want to add is we want to go ahead and add in our inventory text. And so for our inventory text, this is going to be dependent on our actual inventory that the player has. So to go ahead and mock out some of this data, let's come up to the top of our class, and let's add in a new property, and we're going to call this inventory. And so inventory is going to be an array of objects, and each of these objects are going to have properties about our inventory item. And so we'll have like a name, like what this item is, a general description of what it does, a quantity, so we know how many we have in our bag. And then with that inventory, we'll also need to keep track of the game objects that are associated. And so in our inventory scene, we'll have a text game object for the name, so like potion here. And then we'll also have a text game object for our quantity. And we need to keep track of those, so then that way we can update them and remove them if we use all of our items. So to go ahead and mock out some of this data, we'll come down to our init method. And after we create our 9-slice container, we'll go ahead and just do this inventory is going to be equal to an array. And then what we'll do in our array is we're going to have an object, and let's just add in, we'll say potion. Then for our description, we're going to say a basic healing item that will heal 30 HP from a single monster. And then let's go ahead and add in a quantity. So we'll do quantity, and we'll set it equal to 10. And then let's add in a property for tracking our game objects. We'll have game objects, and this will be an object. So one thing to note is we're just mocking some of this data for the time being. What we'll want to do is we'll want to move this to our data manager, and we'll actually pull that data from there. And then that way we can keep track of our data when we save our game. But since we're building out just the basic UI, we'll just mock it for the time being. So now that we have an idea of some of the details we'll have about our inventory, now we need to actually create those text game objects for those. All right, so what we need to do is for each of our inventory items, we need to go ahead and create our text game objects. And so what we need to do is we need to create our name for our item, and then we'll have this quantity symbol and the actual quantity value. And so to go ahead and make this a little bit dynamic, we're going to go ahead and loop through our inventory. And so we'll reference our inventory property, and we'll use for each to loop through them. Then while we're iterating, we're going to have our inventory item. And for our inventory item, we'll go ahead and create our 3 text game objects. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy this line of code here. We're going to paste it 3 times. And we'll go ahead and update our variable names. And so we're going to have our item text. We will have our quantity 1 text, and then we'll have our quantity 2 text. Let's get rid of set origin, because we'll want to position these in the top left corner, and we'll let them go in our container. So then what we'll do is let's reference our container, and we'll do add, and let's add all these game objects. We'll do item text, quantity 1 text, and quantity 2 text. And then like we mentioned, we need to keep track of these text game objects. So we'll use our inventory item. We're going to reference that game object's property, and we're going to set it equal to a new object with references to these objects. And so we're going to have item name, and so this will be our item text. Then we'll have our quantity text. And so this is going to be our quantity 2 text. And then we'll have our quantity sign. And so this will be our quantity 1 text. So then what we need to do is we actually need to update our positioning. and then we need to update our text values. And so for our item name, this is going to be our inventory item, and we'll reference the name property on our object. For our quantity sign, this is just going to be an X. And then for our quantity value, we just need to go ahead and do our inventory item, and we'll reference our quantity. Then so for our X, we're not going to use our inventory text style. We're just going to go ahead and make a new object because we don't want to use the same font, but we do want our color to be black. And so we'll go ahead and do 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And for our font size, we're going to go ahead and do 30 pixels. So for positioning our text game objects, we need this to be dynamic based on our index. So similar like when we did our monster party scene, as we're iterating through our array, we need to keep track of our index, and then that way we can use that index to provide spacing between each of our text game objects. And so what we'll want to do is let's make a new variable at the top of our class, and we'll use it to have our base starting positions for our items. And so I'm just going to do const. We're going to do inventory item position. We're going to set that equal to object.freeze. And so on this object, we're going to do X. We'll start at 50 pixels, and then Y, we're going to go ahead and do 40 pixels, and then we'll add in a property for spacing. And this will be 50 pixels. And so that's going to be the spacing between each of our text game objects. So now what we need to do is for each of our text game objects, we need to use that property. And so for our item text, what we want to do is we'll reference our item, we'll reference our inventory item position, and we're going to grab our X value. And so for all of these, our X value will always be the same. It's going to be our Y value that's going to be dynamic. And so for our Y value, let's just copy this. We'll go ahead and paste it. We'll go ahead and use our Y value. And what we want to do is we want to add our index multiplied by our inventory item space. So we'll have our inventory item position space. All right, so for our quantity sign, for our X position, we'll go ahead and do 620. And then for our quantity 2, we're going to do 650. And then for our Y values, we can just copy this here. And then that way they'll be dynamic based on our index. We'll go ahead and save. Get rid of our extra commas. Go ahead and save. And now we can see our quantity text. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of padding to this just so that the quantity sign is a little bit lower in line with our value here. All right, so now that we've added those, what I'm going to go ahead and do is let's just add one more item just so we can make sure our logic's working. And so we're just going to have a potion 2. We'll go ahead and save. And we can see our potion 2 is now showing up on our scene. So then what we need to do is we need to fix our cancel text. So what we'll do is for our X value, we're going to use our inventory item X position. That way we're not duplicating that value. And then for our Y value, we need to go ahead and get the total number of items in our inventory and then multiply that by our space. So what we'll do is let's go ahead and copy this to get our Y value. But then instead of using our index, we're just going to go ahead and do this. We'll reference our inventory and we'll get the length of our array. All right, so if we go ahead and save, we should see our position of our cancel text is now updated. All right, now that we have our basic layout done, the last thing we need to do is we need to add some logic to modify our item description text down here to be dependent based on what item is currently selected or if our cancel button is selected. And so if one of our items is selected, we'll want this to display our item description versus if our cancel button's description, then we'll show our close button text. And so to go ahead and do this, we're going to add a new property to our class to keep track of which index is currently selected when we're navigating through our inventory. So what we'll do is we'll come to the top of our class. Let's go ahead and add a new property. We're just going to call this selected inventory option index. And for our type, this is just going to be a number. So we're just going to copy this and we'll change this to a number. And then what we'll do is down in our init method, we're going to go ahead and initialize that to 0. We'll do this. We'll do our selected inventory option index. We'll set it equal to 0. While we're here, let's go ahead and get rid of our potion 2 text. All right, so down in our update item description text method, what we want to do is we want to know if our cancel button is currently selected. And so to keep track of that, what we'll do is once we add in our input handling, as we're pushing up and down, we'll change our index value to match which position we are in our inventory array. And then once we get to the bottom of our inventory, so when our index is equal to the length minus 1, If we push the down key, then we'll go ahead and set our index equal to the length of our array. And then by checking that, we'll know if we're down on our cancel button because our array indexes start at 0. Let's go ahead and do this. We're going to add a new method. And so I'm going to do is cancel button selected. And for this method, we're just going to return a Boolean. And so we're going to return this if our selected inventory option index is equal to the length of our inventory, then we'll know that our cancel button is currently selected. So then up in our update item description text method, we're going to do if our cancel button is selected, then we want to go ahead and set our text equal to our cancel text description. And so we'll go ahead and return. And then otherwise, we just want to go ahead and set our text equal to our inventory's description. And so I'm just going to go ahead and copy this here. But then for our text value, we want to go ahead and reference our inventory, and then we're going to use that index. So then we'll use our selected inventory option index, and then we want to grab our description property from that object. So now what should happen is after we save our scene, our text should now be updated to show our basic healing item text here. All right, with that actually brings this video to an end. In our next video, we're going to start adding in logic to handle our player input, and then we'll start working on connecting our inventory scene to the other scenes in our game. So as a reminder, there's a link in the description of the video to the complete source code for this video. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did enjoy the video, please consider liking the video and hitting the bell icon to be notified when the next video in the series is released. For more great Phaser 3 content, please see the links on your screen now.